This is one of those where I don't know how to feel so many thoughts, but get down in the comment section. Tell me your thoughts on the controversies in this fight, because there were a few. The decision itself, which is controversial, and the fight as a whole, just how it went and everything in general. And rematch is definitely on the line. Even if Tank was going to knock him out at the end of that 12th round, a rematch was going to have to happen regardless. Now, hit the like buttons and subscribe, turn on notifications, because we got an analysis coming on later. And I'll be honest with you, I know exactly what I want to talk about, and I want to talk about why I think Lamont Roach was giving Tank so many issues. Now let's talk. I didn't plan on covering this fight. I was going to watch it because it's Tank, and I'm a big Tank fan. And even though I'm a big Tank fan, I'm about to have a lot of criticisms for what happened in this fight, because I think that's part of being a fan. I think being a fan shouldn't just be you glazing them the whole time. So I didn't plan on covering it because I was like, oh, this matchup don't sound like it's gonna be too close or too competitive. But when you facing your sparring partners, I guess all that goes out the window. Everyone was calling Lamont Roach a cherry pick, and to be honest, I was kind of on that way. I didn't think he was necessarily a cherry pick. I just don't think he was among the elite that we wanted to see Tank fight. But we were wrong. A lot of people were wrong, including me. Now, I say I'm a big Tank fan, and I say that because as far as the eye test is concerned, the way I see his ceiling, I put him on a similar level to the big three. To me, the big three are Usyk, Crawford, and Uwe. Obviously, he's not as accomplished as those three. I'm just saying in terms of his ceiling, what he could reach. But in this fight, it was a draw or a Roach win. But again, we're going to get into the controversy, because when Tank took that knee, and I don't remember which round it was, y'all can tell me in the comments, but when Tank took that knee, because he had the grease coming down into his eyes, which is he said he got his hair done 2 days before the fight. Oh my God. When he took that knee, that's part of the robbery, if you want to call this that. And there's people that are going to call it that, and it's hard for me to argue against that, considering the fact that Lamont Roach was cooking the hell out of Tank in some parts of this fight. But when Tank took that knee, that should have been a 10-8 round. Was it a knockdown? No, technically not. But when you take a knee, you're knocking yourself down. And like every time I've seen someone taking a knee, broken hand, messed up shoulder, hair grease rolling into the eyes, it don't matter. That's a 10-8 round. But yeah, just watching this fight, first of all, I had to be reminded of how fast Tank was. Tank was very fast, but Lamont was just as fast, a little bit slower, but not by that much. To me, when it comes to the major stylistic requirements you're gonna have to have in order to beat Tank: speed, reflexes, of course skill. That's that goes without saying, and a chin. And the chin is the threshold, because if you have everything else but you don't have a chin, you're going to get into an exchange with Tank and he's going to rock you. But in the exchanges, Tank was getting rocked, and that's crazy to see, because Tank was taking punches from Mario Barrios, Isaac Cruz, all kinds of heavy-handed fighters have hit him, and he's gotten like kind of hurt. But in this fight, he got wobbled 3 times: round 7, round 8, round 9. He got wobbled 3 times. But yes, talking about chins, Roach was very durable. He took some heavy shots. I mean, you could see his face. He was getting blasted with some heavy left hands, a couple heavy right hooks. He was a couple good uppercuts had probably landed as when Lamont Roach was closing the distance. But Lamont Roach was very durable, and in the exchanges, I'm gonna be honest with you, nobody has outdone Tank as consistently as what we've seen from Roach tonight. Roach was winning so many of the exchanges, and that's what he rocked him in those 3 times, at least those 3 times, but definitely those 3 times. Shakur's odds definitely look far better, considering the stylistic issues we just saw. Someone that can out counter Tank, freeze him up, make him hesitate, and beat him in exchanges. The only problem with Shakur is he can't get into those exchanges for too long of an extended period of time, because I don't know if he has the chin to take Tank's power. But still, Shakur is even more skilled than Lamont Roach, and that's just that fight is even more interesting now. And that's why tough fights that's why tough fights make everything better, because certain fights start looking more interesting. Maybe to some people this was just further confirmation that Shakur was better. Regardless, to me that's more interesting. But yeah, sparring with someone and figuring out their timing, I think there's like a long history of this, and I'm not a boxing historian, so I can't like go through all of the references. But yeah, that seems to be a big pattern. Like, just because Lamont Roach wasn't a name that we recognized, people were kind of sleeping on him. And Tank, I'm pretty sure Tank knew this was gonna be challenging, but he definitely didn't think it was gonna be this challenging, as the way he was reacting and how he was trying to get the referee on his side, and he took the knee, and then he was in the corner for like longer, and he was rubbing the grease down off his head like he was in a Rocky movie. I mean, what are we doing? I walked away from, I'm walking away from this fight. The crazy thing is, I'm walking away from this fight feeling like Lamont, regardless of the decision, and I think Lamont probably should have won, especially considering that he was robbed of that 10-8 round. I walk away from this fight thinking Roach is the better fighter, because Tank gets better as the fight progresses because he's smart, he adapts. Tank's cerebral nature is kind of underappreciated. That's also why I kind of put him up there, although maybe we'll rethink things, we'll see. It depends on how that rematch is going to go in the future, and hopefully it won't be a year from now, hopefully it'll be a few months from now. But Tank gets better as the fight progresses, and the first rounds are usually slow for him, and then he starts finding openings, finding timing, setting traps, trying to pull people in. He tried to do that versus Roach, but Tank always struggles when people don't take the bait, and he tries really hard, even talking to him, trying to bring them in. It worked on Rolly, but a lot of things work on Rolly, to be fair. Lamont Roach isn't Rolly. And it worked on Ryan. A lot of things work on Ryan too, but yeah, Tank was in there with somebody who was just as smart as him, or smart enough, just as fast as him, or fast enough, just as tough and game as him, or tough and game enough to really make him look very mortal, very human. And this always is going to happen to every fighter. They got to run into somebody that's going to give him issues, and he just found his guy. Lamont Roach, in those exchanges when he was timing that right hand and turning with the guard, and he was so smooth with so many of his counters. And at the end, like I was kind of building along to, talking about how Tank figures people out, at the end of this fight, I'm like, Roach looked like the better fighter to me, because at the end, Tank couldn't solve this puzzle. So far, to me, Tank has been able to solve every puzzle that was in front of him, including Isaac Cruz, who I think Tank outmatched Isaac Cruz. I think Tank is the superior fighter. But in this case, I don't know. We need a rematch in order to really answer that question. But in this fight, I think Lamont Roach should have won. That's probably how I feel, especially considering that 10-8 round was not a 10-8 round. But I want to hear your thoughts on the controversies, the fight, the decision as a whole, everything in general. Like I said, analysis later tonight, and behind the analysis on Patreon. But I might make that just free for everyone, so they can come and see the behind the analysis, so you don't have to pay. But that is all. I'm out.